My name is Arlie Reynolds. I'm the director of our Center for One Health Research here, and which means that I get to lead an amazing team of folks who work together on and have helped bring us all here today. I want to thank Chancellor White for his introduction, for Simeon for that beautiful opening prayer. And I want to thank all of you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here with us today. You know, 3 years ago, we tried to do this, and we got stopped 2 days before the conference started by this little virus that took over the world. And the world's changed a lot since then. And I think one of the things that we've realized, or one of the things that's come out of that, is that we realize that One Health really is the way the world works, and it really is the way that we need to approach big problems like the pandemic. I want to talk a little bit about the structure of this meeting. It's a little bit different probably than most meetings that you'll go to. We're not going to deconstruct One Health into animal health, human health, environmental health. Instead, what I'd like to try to do is construct it back and really emphasize the way that those things are interdependent. You know, that we can't be healthy unless the animals and plants we live with are healthy, the environment that we live in is healthy, and we ourselves need to be completely healthy. And that's why each day is focused on a different area that One Health can really help us understand and hopefully make improvements in. Today, we're going to look at holistic health. And we're really fortunate to have Dr. Stacy Rasmus and Billy Charles and Simeon John here to start us off with a keynote that I think is a real paradigm shift in the way that we look at some of the big issues that face us, not just here in Alaska, but across the circumpolar north and even globally. And that is, let's stop looking at the way that we have to treat problems, and let's try to understand where they originate. And in order to do that, we have to work across disciplines, we have to work across government sectors, we have to work across cultures, and a lot of times we have to work across countries. And when we do that type of work, it requires a paradigm shift, a real paradigm shift. One of the things that you're going to hear about this morning is how when you do community-based participatory research, you can change the way that research is conducted in that instead of just trying to figure out what the researcher wants, you can actually figure out what the community needs. And in doing that, maybe really understand the problem from the perspective of the people that are experiencing it. And from that type of perspective, we can get to sources and really make a difference. And I think Dr. Rasmus and her team have been real groundbreakers in that area and made tremendous strides. So thank you very much for being here and sharing your experiences with us. The other thing that I think is kind of unique about this meeting is that the number one demographic represented here this week will be students. And to me, that gives me a lot of hope for the future. It means that we've got a lot of young people that are really interested in making worthwhile changes and working together, taking their hats off and working together. We've got students from the University of Alaska Fairbanks, from our One Health Master's program, our veterinary medicine program, from BLAST, from our climate scholars, from many different disciplines, from undergraduate all the way up through the PhD. We've got students from Mount Edgecombe High School, students from the Dene College, students from Fort Lewis College, students from Salish Kootenai College, Tribal College, students from Alaska Pacific University. All these students, many of them come from very far away, from much warmer areas than Fairbanks, to come together and share their knowledge and learn. And I think that's what this conference is all about. We also have a lot of community members, which I think is great, researchers, teachers. We've got nonprofit and private sector participants. We've got government agencies. We've got folks from the healthcare professions. And we've got people from the press and the media. So we've really got a diverse group. And to me, if One Health is going to work, we have to have that kind of diversity. So I want to thank all of you who have taken the time to come here and be with us. Like Chancellor White said, I really want this meeting to be a place that focuses on diversity, inclusion, respect, and caring. We have to have that. I want this to be a safe place. I want it to be a place where people feel like they can actually have fellowship with each other, that they can learn from each other, that they can be inspired and share knowledge. And One of the real construct for me, at least, and the way that I look at One Health, is that, as the Chancellor mentioned, it has always been a part of Indigenous worldview. We now have a Western word for it. But it requires us being able to really understand and respect knowledge systems that may be different than our own. And when we do that, we get a beautiful look into the past, into the future, and a different perspective on things that I think really helps us reach towards solutions. So as we go through this meeting, today we're going to focus on holistic health. And this afternoon, there's a beautiful film about the life of George Atla. And for those of you who aren't familiar with George Atla, he's probably best known for the fact that he's the winningest dog musher of all time. But what most people don't realize is that he was a tuberculosis survivor that had his right knee and ankle fused and could hardly walk. And he overcame those adversities through the help of the elders in his community and working with dogs to go on to become the greatest dog musher of all time. And in his later days, he came back to his community and saw that there were young people that were struggling just like he did when he was young. And he built a dog mushing program in his community that helped the young folks there, and not just them, but the entire community, manage some of these issues. So it's a beautiful film about the last year of his life and one of his proteges, Joe Byfeld. And Joe will actually be here after the film, well, during and after the film, to answer any questions or to have a discussion with you guys. So I'd encourage you to stay for that if you have time. That's after the meeting today at 5:30. Tomorrow, we're going to look at food safety, security, and sovereignty. And as the ICC, the Inuit Circumpolar Council has told us, and I really agree with them, you can't have food security without food sovereignty. And so we're going to have some great keynotes tomorrow looking at both subsistence side of things as well as other aspects of food security. And then several interesting panels on some of the impacts that we're seeing right now, particularly those based on climate change. And then there's a beautiful film by Louise Brady and the Herring Protectors that I would encourage you to stay for tomorrow after the conference. And Louise will be here to answer questions about that. On Thursday, we're going to talk about global impacts and collaboration. And we've partnered with the U.S. Department of State, and several of their representatives are here. They'll have a panel that day, and we'll have keynotes on climate change and also on incorporating Indigenous ways of knowing in the way that we do our work. And then there's a banquet Thursday afternoon or Thursday evening, and Dr. Jim Berner, who's one of the real, I think, pioneers of One Health here in Alaska, will be here joining us and talking a little bit about his perspective of over 50 years of One Health work across the state of Alaska. And then Friday, we're going to talk about education and communication. So you can see that our conference is broken up in different days to cover different themes, but all of them revolve around the way we work together in One Health. So I hope that, my hope for you guys is that you'll leave here with new knowledge, with new colleagues, with new energy, and new inspiration. And I want to thank you again so much for taking the time to be here. Before we head into the morning program, I also want to say a few thank yous. We've had some great, meetings like this can't be held without sponsorship. And we've had some great support from a couple of the NIH programs here at UAF, Alaska Embry and Blast, from the College of Rural and Community Development, from the Center for Alaska Native Health Research. Also the State Department from Boehringer Ingelheim, who's helping sponsor the banquet on Thursday. From Alaska EPSCoR, our Alumni Association, the Department of Art, and you can see that we have several artists represented over here, and we'll talk more about them during the banquet on Thursday. For Explore Fairbanks and the Museum of the North. So while you're here, like the Chancellor was saying, if you guys want to take a tour of the museum or a tour of our large animal research station, all those things will be available to you. I also want to ask a couple individuals to stand up right now. If Kelsey Nicholson, Hannah Robinson, and Elizabeth Van Hock could please stand up. Where are you guys? I think everybody in this room knows who those guys are because you've probably been flooded with emails helping you fix your travel and accommodations and everything that's going on here if you have a poster or you're speaking. They've done This whole meeting has basically been put together by those three individuals, and I can't thank them enough for the hard work they put into this. I also want to thank Kim McGinnis from the School of Management, Security and Management. They've put together a couple beautiful panels for Thursday. Explore Fairbanks and the Golden Heart Greeters who have volunteered here. Our workers from BLAST, Jen, Lori, and Nicola, who have helped with registration this morning. Dave Payer, who's a classmate of mine from vet school, who's going to be here and helping with some of the monitoring of the panels. Chancellor White and Vice Chancellor Stern, and Dean Brian Urhar from the College of Community and Rural Development. AUP, who's making all of the audiovisual capacity here work for us, and I want to let you know that all of the talks for this this conference will be recorded, so that then they will be available to you for later use if you want to do that, and same with the panels. I want to thank our artists who have brought in their beautiful artwork for us. Joe Beifeld, who will be here at the film tonight, and Louise Brady, who will be here tomorrow with her film, and volunteers Toru and Corey for putting together all the slides for us today, and the Alaska Fellows Program from both Sitka and Fairbanks. Thank you all for the hard work that you've put in to make this conference possible, and thank you all for coming. Really look forward to getting to know as many of you as possible over the next few days, and I hope it's an opportunity for you to see old friends finally in person again, and meet some new ones. Thank you. Now for the good stuff.